Hello and welcome to another Moon Kitty speed paint. Today I am drawing Cinderpelt as requested by Bumbletuss on my Patreon. The way I see Cinderpelt is a bit different from the usual, or at least the nowadays, modern day usual, as it was her Cats of the Clan portrait as a kid that really seared into my brain what she looked like, more so than any other design. My reference photo is a picture of Pepper and a picture of Alfador at 5 months old, photoshopped together. Alfador was actually taller than Pepper when he was 5 months old, but nobody needs to know that. This reference also creates a weird perspective, and I just chose not to think about it. I know it's common to draw Cinderpelt with scars. I prefer it as more of an injury that shows up when she walks or runs than as an injury that's always visible. And that's just how injuries are. You can't always immediately tell that somebody is disabled. Additionally, if we're talking about cats, usually they don't have large bald patches where they've been scarred. Even Brightheart, who canonically has a large bald patch where she's been scarred, probably would just have like a closed eye by this point in her healing. But again, Warrior Cats has never been in charge of how cat biology works. And right about here, I stop the recording to go do something, I think eat, and then I come back, forget what I was doing, forget to turn it back on, and get all the way through setting up a background and preliminary shading before I remember that I am not recording. That said, I do have Clip Studio Paint's built-in recording feature here for you, and while it goes pretty dang fast and isn't exactly accurate to how long it took me to do these things, it works. It fills in the gap where you otherwise wouldn't have seen what I was doing. I thought this was a pretty cute picture of Pepper. Alfador, meanwhile, couldn't have good posture if it killed him, so whatever picture of him will do fine. Like I said before, that Cats of the Clan's picture of Cinderpelt really influenced how I saw her as a character. As opposed to, in canon, Cinderpelt is a short-furred, dark gray cat. In my head, she's a medium long-furred, medium gray cat. So, acknowledging that in canon she is short-furred, in my heart she is pepper-furred. I'm not really one for usually deviating from canon, honestly. I actually try really hard to stay accurate to what the books actually say, but this is my one allowance for being inaccurate, is Cinderpelt. I get rid of this leaf she's holding and I never bring it back. This is partially because I forgot, but also partially because when I did think about it, I was like, okay, I don't want to have to try and draw another leaf because I am so bad at it. Well, okay, if I sat down and actually took the time to draw the leaves, I'm sure it wouldn't be that much of a problem. The issue is more so that I don't want to take the time that it takes to draw the leaves properly, so I don't. And that's it's laziness. It's pure laziness. The leaf went away because I was lazy. A lot of this painting in particular is just going forward and not thinking about it. And the not thinking about it came through in a few places. One is the fact that obviously the recording cuts out a few times with me forgetting to turn it back on immediately. Another is that I separated half the painting from the other half of the painting with a layer of 21% dark blue that you can actually see on the side there. And in doing so, I made it so that I couldn't properly flatten the cat part of my image because I wasn't thinking about it. And I guess what I should have done is I should have duplicated the 21% dark blue and put one over the background layer and one over the cat parts that I merged together, and I could have thought of that. I could have remembered to do that and thought that was a good idea, but I didn't at the time. I didn't think of it at all. So instead, I just suffer through not being able to merge all the layers down like I usually do constantly, and it wasn't a particularly good idea. If you remember, usually I work with only a couple layers at a time. I'll have everything merged into one for the cat portrait portion of it, and I will have one layer above it that I'm doing all of the editing on top of. And because I put that dark blue there and didn't think to separate it so I could merge it into the rest of my cat, I left it there, and then I had a whole bunch of different cat layers that really confused me, and a whole bunch of background layers that I couldn't find anything on. Leafkit is here too. Leafkit is here because I thought it would be cute for Leafkit to be here. I did not check first to see if Leafpool was in the request channel, but nobody is stopping me from putting Leafkit here, if or not she was requested to be in one of these videos. Leafkit being here would actually kind of date this picture as something that would take place 4 or 5 months before the first book of the New Prophecy, or 2 or 3 months after the Ravenpaw's Path manga, in a supposed period of peace for the clans right before Leafkit would be apprenticed. That said, it doesn't need a time period, and I wasn't even thinking about that when I was drawing it. You can draw whatever you want. You can draw, Broken Star hanging out with Darktail if you want to. No one's gonna stop you. I guess that works anyway, because Broken Star's ghost, continues to exist for quite a long time, doesn't it? Ah, man. Nobody can stop you, not even Warrior Cat's canon. Unless you want to draw, like, Hawkfrost and Spotted Leaf hanging out with Frostpaw, then you're not allowed to do that, because they're double dead and they can't come back. Okay, no, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do it. That just can't be canon, that specific situation. I really like the messy hair that I completely accidentally gave Leafkit here. I don't think I was even trying to give her hair, but the ear tuft in combination with the little fluff on top of her head kind of makes this, like, messy patch of hair on top of her head that's really cute. For a really, really long time, Leafpool was our only brown tabby female cat that we had as a protagonist. But I really like how, as a fandom, we always learn ways to differentiate the cats who have the same colors and patterns at a glance. Sure, every small, short-haired brown tabby has a chance at being mistaken for Leafpool, but the sheer speed at which the fandom picked up, say, including a white spot or a brown spot on Sunbeam's muzzle to differentiate her is impressive. I mean, it helps that this is how she was on her official art on the cover of River, even if it was presumably a lighting mistake, but we're already inventing little visual cues to say, hey, this is Sunbeam, not Leafpool. Hey, me, yeah, the one painting this. Wake up. So I do a few finishing touches on the Leafpool here, and then I get up, walk around, and take a break. Unfortunately, right as I'm getting up and walking around and taking a break, I come back and forget to push record on OBS again. So here we are, the Moon Kitty mistake camera comes back, so you can see the Clip Studio recording of me starting on the background. I'm not thinking about the direction of the shadows whatsoever when I draw all of these trees. So I draw the trees and then I draw the trees' shadows, and the trees' shadows do not line up with where the rest of the shadows are on the picture, so I have to erase all the shadows on the trees and redraw them alongside the shadows on Cinderpelt and Leafpool, but that's fine, we're good. It's not that hard to erase a bunch of shadows and put them back on. Even though I planned to, I do not end up manually drawing a lot of the plants in the background. It's really just because I didn't have the patience. I could have drawn the plants in the background and not used stamps for them, but it really, really seemed like it would make this, I don't know, like probably 20 minutes longer than it is. So I copped out, used a whole bunch of stamps, the same stamps I always use. I should probably make my own or get new ones sometime, because you can probably see these stamps and go, oh yeah, I saw these stamps in 20 Moonkitty videos. But either way, I definitely fell back on foliage stamps instead of actually drawing the foliage this time around. Besides this grass, I drew some of this grass with a paintbrush, I suppose. I try to draw a plant here, like an actual plant that I'm drawing, and I hate it. I hate the plant. I try to find a place for it later, I still hate the plant. So this plant goes in the garbage, and goodbye. Goodbye plant. Goodbye forever. That said, you'll probably notice that despite my use of foliage brushes here, the background here looks a lot better than it does on, say, the background of the soul picture that I painted a couple months ago, and I will attribute that directly to the fact that I went and got a reference photo of a forest to use while I was painting this. References are good. You do not need to follow a reference absolutely perfectly, but it will help. It will definitely help you make a better picture. And I know that when you're young, it's really easy to look at somebody drawing and think, oh, all of that is talent, all of that is memorization, all of that is in their head, and it's the way that they can do things, and that's just not true. I mean, sure, there are artists who can sit down and draw anything, anyway, perfectly, but you are not cheating by using a reference. You are not doing anything wrong by using a reference, and you are not a lesser artist for using a reference, so you should. Please sit down and use a reference for absolutely everything. And when I say a reference, I mean a photograph. I mean a picture of the thing. I am not talking about other people's art. If you are... That is a whole box of worms that I am not going into. I'm talking specifically about photo references. And obviously, lots of photo references are copyrighted, and they are people's personal pictures, and if you want to use someone's personal picture and not a public domain photo, that's something that you need to ask of them, but it is really easy to just take your own pictures of your own cats, or use public domain photos of cats. There's lots of them. And when it comes to the outdoors, there's thousands and thousands of public domain reference photos that you could use. I had quite a bit of trouble, like I said before, drawing the catmint in Leafpool's mouth. I just don't have very good shorthand yet for drawing plants, and I should get some, and I should practice. I just don't really have the time lately. So, you can definitely see a bit of struggle there as I try to make that actually look like catmint as opposed to generic leaf. Anyway, there is Cinderpelt and Leafkit. I hope you guys had fun watching me paint this time, even though large chunks of it died to my own forgetfulness, but I think this one looks pretty cute, and I hope to see you guys with another speed paint soon. As usual, the speed paint suggestions come from the Cats to Draw section on my Patreon server.